Good afternoon. We are starting week 2. I hope that all of you had a good beginning to the week and that things went well for you. For many of you, it might have been the first week of your teaching as well. So I know that there's a lot going on at this time of the year. I want to begin by giving you a little bit of feedback about last week's assignments. I did really enjoy reading and watching through your What's New with Me. It gave me a little better idea of who you all are and what you do in your career, in your teaching career. So just a couple of things that I wanted to make sure that we're all on the same page with. And I hope that Lisa and Darian won't mind me using their discussion board 2 example, because those were the only 2 in which I saw citations listed. So go back if you're not sure how to put a citation after your discussion board entry. Go back and look at Lisa Alexander's and Darian McGibbon's discussion board 2. Look at their examples for how they cited the video at the end of their entry. I gave you all a free pass on that this week, but in future weeks, if those citations are not there, you will lose points. Another issue that came up this week is the idea of live links and how to upload those. Most of you did a pretty good job with this, but there were a number of them that I still had to copy and paste. So when you're posting to Blackboard, once you're in that toolbar area, just highlight your URL link on the chain icon and insert link, paste your link in there, and select it to open in a new window. Be sure to click on submit, and then your video will be live, and I can access it without having to leave Blackboard and cut and paste in your submission. I also this week put in a YouTube video. It's underneath assignment 2, exploring resources. So it's in that box that contains all the different programs or apps that you might want to be using for this week. Additionally, there is a video that was posted by the university that talks about how to embed your live links, and that will be really helpful for you this week if you were not able to do that previously. So look at those videos. The one that I submitted is kind of a step-by-step YouTube, and I thought it was very helpful, so I hope that you will be able to make use of those resources. Just a reminder, I had a couple of you ask me about discussion board responses. You are required to respond to 2 of your peers, not all of them, but 2 of them for each discussion board. So if there are 2 discussion board prompts for the week, then you need to respond to both of them with, respond to 2 of your peers for each of those discussion board prompts. So this week, we are looking at a couple of questions. The first one talks about what are some ways in which you can encourage your students and their families to regularly visit your website, because you're going to be creating that website if you don't have one already. What benefits do you see as a result of building a class website? Discuss content that you feel is important to add to your website, and what are the cons of having a website? What can you do to improve these issues? So those are the questions that you are going to focus on and reply to in discussion board 1. Discussion board 2 is asking you to read the article 9 Techniques for Building Solid Parent-Teacher Relationships, and to share one technique you use on a regular basis to build a solid parent-teacher relationship and why you use this particular technique. I believe there are a few of you that this is your first year teaching. You may not have had this experience previously, but what I would like you to think about is what do you intend to do this year in order to build those parent-teacher relationships, and why are you using that particular vehicle or method to strengthen those parent-teacher relationships. Okay, you have some reading to do this week. Most of it is very short. There is a link to an article called Create an Impressive Class Website in Under an Hour. A second one is called it's called 10 Ways for Parents and Students to Build Websites. Both of those links talk about Weebly for education, but that second link gives 9 more options. So I would encourage you to maybe start with that one and take time to look over those this week to see which one you might want to use for your website. There is a link there to click if you want to see some student examples. When I went in to look at those, they were not necessarily Concordia examples. They were just teacher examples that had been posted. So they don't necessarily meet the criteria of what you're being asked to do this week. Let's see what else. You have an article to read. And again, this one is pretty short. It's called 9 Techniques for Building Solid Parent-Teacher Relationships. I think I mentioned that. It's a very short article that's aimed mostly at 6th to 8th grade teachers, but I think that whatever grade you're teaching, this would have some appropriate application for you. So take a look at that. Let's talk now about your next assignment, and you are building upon your work from last week. So you are being asked to create and publish a class website. So you have a couple of options here. You can use a free web-based 2.0 tool of any of your choice. You might use your school's web design tool. If you already have a classroom website, you should probably challenge yourself to build upon that and utilize some advanced techniques that perhaps you haven't explored yet. And you can also create or use this to create a website for your professional portfolio that you're going to be adding to as you work your way through this program. Okay, so after reviewing all the examples and the resources in this week's folder, build your website using the tool and the template that you choose. And I want to draw your attention to the criteria for this assignment. If you recall, in the first week I posted or said something on my video that I always use the rubrics to grade. So you need to make sure you have that rubric in front of you and you are referring back to those requirements for this assignment. Let's see. You will use this website you're building throughout the course to post other assignments if you choose to use them with your students. So you need to submit a link to your completed website by next Sunday at midnight. The criteria on this rubric, I have one disclaimer. In the syllabus that I posted, it said this assignment was worth 40 points. When I clicked on the attached rubric, it says 30 points. So I have in my possession both a 40-point and a 30-point rubric. I believe, as I've looked at the criteria for them, that it's probably the 30-point rubric that's being used. That rubric covers all of the main components. It's the same components as in the 40. So we're going to go with that. If it's any different, I will email you all and let you know. You have 3 main areas that you are looking at. One is model digital age work and learning. So the expectation here is that your website is easily navigable. It has to be at least 5 pages. All of your links are hyperlinks, and each page has navigation. That's the first set of criteria. The second part says model digital age work and learning. So in order to meet that requirement, you are communicating with a particular audience, and the purpose of your website is very clearly defined so that when I click on that, I will know who it is that you are wanting to reach. Your website should contain appropriate backgrounds, colors, and at least one table containing information. That table, the one I looked at, the example, was a table that included grades. So you may have one with dates on it, lists of projects, whatever you want to use that table for, but you have to have at least one table. Finally, the last area of criteria is to promote and model digital citizenship and responsibility. So your images and graphics and at least one video are embedded within the site. Your sources are documented properly and copyright law is followed. If you are taking information for your website from any source, on that page of your website, I need you to put, it can be in small letters, but I need you to do an APA citation so that you are recognizing the author of that material. So you might purposely pick one idea for your website that can be cited. I'm finding in this course there's not a lot of opportunity for correct APA formatting, so I want to make sure that what we do, we take those opportunities so that I can give you feedback as to the correctness and the use of those citations. So I think that that is about all I need to tell you this week. Please, please, please make sure that you download that rubric and you keep it with you at all times so that you will really understand what the criteria is and you're not just listening to me state it here on this video. If you have questions or comments, call me, email me, text me. I've heard from a number of you this week, so I'm pretty available. Make sure that you contact me because that's my job to support you in this journey. So I hope you have a great week. I know probably everybody's looking forward to a long Labor Day weekend. So take care, have a great week, and I will talk to you next Sunday.